What is happening, boys and girls? So today I figured I would do part two of the Rotary Miata wiring. So this is pretty much my idea that I drew up and laid out for how I want to wire the car. I've already recorded this once, and I got a full black screen, so I might glaze over some stuff that I initially talked over really well, but that's okay. This is just an overview of kind of what I have in mind, and figured it's about time to get really prepped and ready to go to do this, since part one was 2 years ago, and it was only me removing the wiring harness. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So this is my general overview of how the whole car is going to be wired, simplified to a pretty, it's kind of simplified, but it doesn't exactly show the routing of the wiring, but it's a good general overview. Haven't decided whether I'm going to stick the battery in the trunk or in the passenger floorboard. I kind of am leaning still to keep it in the trunk, since I want to be able to have passengers in the car, but it's, here or there. Haven't really decided yet. I'd like to be able to do that, mainly so that I can take my wife for ride-alongs on track, or buddies, or somebody that I might be coaching, or something along those lines. So I'm leaning towards leaving the battery in the back of the car, but I'm not completely set on that. I have a 8 switch panel from Painless Wiring that I have mapped out 7 of them on. I had all 8 full, but I decided to dump my fuel pump prime. So no reason to really have that with the Haltech being able to prime itself. I had an idea behind maybe needing to prime longer than what the Haltech will prime to, but I can just raise that number as much as I need to for how long it needs to prime. So clearly, I like having the starter switch not related to the original ignition system of the car, because most cars nowadays that people are building race cars out of, maybe something 40 years ago wouldn't have this, but most modern cars have a clutch pedal switch that you have to have engaged to start the car. I've seen multiple, well, I haven't seen multiple, but I have seen at least one time where that got somebody hit really hard at a racetrack, because they had to have the clutch pushed in to turn the car over, whereas when you have a bypass switch or an actual main switch, even with all the power off in the car other than the master, you can hit the starter and roll the car, use the starter to roll the car off track, so you get out of the way even if the car won't run. Big thing for me, we've always had that in all the cars that I've ran or have had my hands in building. ECU IO, that way you can turn the car over if it's flooded and push it out. Ignition coil, that's just, put it on its own circuit, since it's got to have 12 volts, so might as well have it on its own circuit. Wiper, cool suit, headlights, and defrost, that's all pretty self-explanatory. So the headlights are not connected to the taillights whatsoever. The taillights come on when the master comes on through the main 12-volt bus bar, because I would rather have the taillights on all the time, minus the brake pedal switch, so that you're easier to see no matter what. Even if it's bright and sunny outside, taillights on helps people see. So I have flash to pass on the steering wheel as well, just to make it easier to, sorry, my dog is scratching on the door for some reason, instead of going in there and laying down like she normally does. But flash to pass on the steering wheel, all that's going to do is turn the headlights off and on. Not a big deal there. So get further over here, and you can see I have a leash. If you don't know what Leash Electronics is, they build, most of the time they build relay boards and stuff like that for drag cars. I just happen to use one of their setups for this, since it's a fuse relay all built into one. So all I have to do is stick one wire on one side and one wire on the other, and it gets 12 volts the correct way without me having to worry about building relay circuits and stuff like that. So easy peasy. You can see what my guesstimates are for what my fuses will be for all of the 12 volt system that I have, and then obviously the ECU will ground, output, fuel, and then fan 1 and 2. So that's pretty much it for the main overview of the system. Got my wires that run to the back that I'm going to use existing wiring harness that I'll break out, since I don't want to use all 6 or 10 wires that run back there for many different things like emissions control stuff and other things like that. I'll remove all that and keep the wires that run back to the taillights for on and then switch and fuel pump, and then maybe a ground that I might also tie back into my ground bar that's not shown. It's just going to be some generic thing somewhere in here. That's what all the dark gray is running to. Somewhere there will be a ground bar that everything grounds to, and then it grounds to the chassis and battery at the same time. But I'll do the same thing with the pop-ups. I haven't decided yet on if I'm going to run the actual pop-ups or if I'm going to put a flush Lexan cover where the pop-ups should go. The last car that we ran, the red Miata, on this channel, or on my YouTube channel if you've seen it, had that, and it was really, really hard to see at night. The Lexan diffused the LED lights that we had really bad, so they didn't cover the ground in front of us very well, and there were some issues with how we had it mounted and stuff like that that kept you from being able to see very well. But it's neither here nor there. That's it's something that I can overcome if I need to. If I don't like the pop-up setup, I can have two different styles of headlights that I can put in and take out, because it won't be hard with how bare minimum the car is. So that's pretty much the overview of the whole car. Let's go ahead and dig into the engine bay. So this is my engine bay harness for now. It's almost more simple than the actual body of the car harness. So you got your front, left, right, firewall. So this is pretty much as if you were standing in the crew compartment or the passenger compartment and looking down into the engine bay. This is how I have it modeled. So I have pretty much everything, even though it's not drawn this way, everything will pretty much come through one firewall hole, except for maybe like the the high amperage, starter stuff, and maybe the fans. But once I do a little bit more research, I may just run all this together, since the only really noisy thing that's in this would be the spark plug wires, but everything is bypassing the spark plug wires. So hopefully none of this interferes with itself. It shouldn't, from what I've gathered, but there's always a chance, especially since this is a CAS and it's a reluctor wheel instead of Hall effect. So it's just picking up an analog signal and not a digital signal, because there's no 5-volt source for it to pick up. At least I think that's it. That's how this one is. It's magnetic. I always get it confused which one's which, reluctor or Hall effect. But it's the magnetic pickup version. So that would be the only thing that if it's noisy, the car will not run right at all, and then I have to break out the whole wiring harness again. But you can see I have a wiring diagram over here for how thick the wire is correlates to what gauge wire. Clearly I'm going to have only probably 10 feet of 2 gauge wire in the whole car, and that's just running from the starter alternator into the battery. Everything else will be 10 gauge or less. So I've got mass air temperature over here. Oh, by the way, the cyan is signal. The gray dashed is signal ground. The straight up gray is like ground, like universal ground for the car. And then red is 12 volt, obviously. And then this off yellow is 5-volt source. So mass air temp, water temp, so on and so forth. I'm going to be using douche connectors, because I built this one and I liked it a lot, and so I'm just going to move forward with them. So there's 3 different types of DUSH connectors, general DUSH connectors that most people use, which is the DTM, which is like for signal wire stuff, so it's really small gauge wire. DT, which is your general, which is just about everything else runs through DT, and then DTP, which is your high amperage stuff. So anything that's over like 15 amps goes through a DTP connector. And the difference there really is, from looking at it, it looks like the rubber seal on the connectors are a little bit bigger and the pins are bigger. That's the only difference between, the three different styles. So this is how I'm planning on having everything wired in the car. This will all be loomed together, wrapped together, and it'll break out, and everywhere there's a square is where I'll have a connector that breaks out that way. When this is all said and done, I can unconnect everything, throw it off to the side, and pull the engine out and leave everything in it that needs to be in it. So that's pretty much it for this. Seems pretty easy as long as I don't have noise interference with these. And I shouldn't, since it's RX-8 coils. I am grounding it to the rotor housing and then back to the main ground, just in case. It's a recommended thing. Rotaries, they like to have the rotor housing grounded for the ignition coils that you're building. So, or at least that's what I've been told. So I'm just gonna go by what people say and not deal with it. So one of the things that I did is the Haltech requires a throttle position sensor, and the Weber carburetor that I'm running, there's not really a good solution for a throttle position sensor. Plus, it's going to be living over top of the exhaust, which is hellacious hot. Even with the heat shield there, it's going to be really hot on anything that's above it, especially even the carburetor itself. So I'm going to have a heat shield there, and then hopefully ducting, which is why this mass air temp sensor is out here. It's going to plug into that, and it's kind of going to blow generally on the onto the carburetor and kind of into the air cleaner thing. But since I couldn't find a solution, I decided to use a shock travel sensor. So it's a linear sensor, so it extends and contracts, and 0 to 5 volts that way. So I'm going to build a bracket that goes off the throttle pedal, and then that's how I'm going to go figure out 0 throttle or 100% throttle and have a little bit of leeway built in there. But anyways, that's the my simple wiring idea there. Now for the little bit of harness that I plan on keeping, that is part of the factory Miata harness. So I plan on keeping the controller and everything for the pop-ups, if I do decide to keep the pop-ups. And with that, you only need to I plan on keeping the tombstone push button for the manual pop-up. I'm not going to keep any of the actual light switch or anything. That's all going to get removed from the steering column. So all I need to have is 12-volt brown. So I'll pick up a relay or something that powers on, since that's such a high load when this switches, and 12 volts to the brown cable, and you can get rid of everything else. So everything left of this you can cut out. So other than the ground, you need to ground everything, but all this over here you can keep, except for this. This goes to the dash, which I won't use. There will probably be a plug there somewhere that I'll get rid of that for that. Next is the tail lights. So the tail lights, obviously, only a couple of wires that run back to the back of the car for the fuel pump, and then the tail light and the tail light switch. So red, black is the tail light, goes to both left and rear, right. And then there's a green wire that comes off of the switch. So I'll wire some 12 volts to the switch, and then when you press the switch, it lights up the rear tail lights. So easy peasy, or at least that's what I'd like to think. But that's it for this. If you want me to post this stuff, my ideas up online, I can. That general wiring diagram is a very good overview for just basic wiring. If you wanted to start with something like that to start wiring your race car, you can just plop in whatever ECU you want to really in there. But anyways, guys, if you would like that, comment down below and I'll post it somewhere so that you can download it and look at it yourself. It's a lot easier because it's a CAD to PDF drawing, so you can really zoom in if you can't read any of the stuff on screen whenever I was showing it. But that's all for today. I'm gonna go and actually work on starting to get this roll cage built. So until next time, guys, happy brapping.